You sought out to do things. Why aren't you happy? You're the one who sought out to lay around and get pregnant. You sought out to go get married. You made this plan for your life, thought it out, thought you thought it out. But you haven't realized that he's the one who said that he's going to give you the desires of your heart. What happens when your desires are obtained and they have not made you happy the way in which you thought they would?
What happens when your dreams are reached but you crash into them head on? When the gas pedal is smashed with no seatbelt fastened, like driving reckless is a fad or trend on the road to wishes. Now the soul ambitious enough to ask of him who fashioned men to give them their desires does. But you wind up in a ditch on fire now screaming for help. You see, the door he kept shut was for a reason that you felt was meant to hurt you in a season that the self you pictured you could be was on a shelf you couldn't reach and no one else could see it either. Not even who formed you, see. He's the evilest one of all because it seems he rejected who you saw in you when really he protected you from the desires you obsessively pursued so aggressively that you thought progression would be soon after you get them, but he knew your desires were yours, not his. So impure since your flesh is what was fiending. Then he let the devil feed it while you wrestled with the demons you were begging for from Jesus, who rejected every plea. If you accepted that his no was the protection that you needed, then you wouldn't be here cursing any quote unquote blessing you're receiving.
When out of your heart and in your heart you were to love him, you would have not make room, but let him be the room. So go on and read the room for which he is to occupy. On its walls write words of life, and that more abundantly. Inwardly let loose of what's been hanging freely on every thought. Because desires ate you up, and now you're aching on the inside with despair that since you sought out not the kingdom of God and his righteousness, but first you thought to do your own thing. And only then, once you seek out his kingdom, will you be able to feed this appetite that seems to go hungry for so long, no matter how many possessions you stock up and build up in your own home? It's only going to be him that's going to satiate it. When will you realize that your blueprints are the bloopers when it's compared to the master's plan? When will you grasp the understanding that the only reason you are so unhappy is because time and time again you have made up your bed with thorns and thistles. You can't sleep at night because you're stuck on donated boxes you once perceived were to be blessings, but they became wicked things. And now you're tossing and turning and can't seem to get enough sleep. This is what happens when you are living in the Tower of Babel and not in the maker of the stars themselves. Now look at how your despondency birthed a waywardness, all because you speculated that if you had this thing, you would be happy. Your own logic is now birthing yet that much more anguish. Oopsie. You made a domino effect that started because you were having a moment and attempted to be the creator. Well. Look at what you created.
When the ache of every scar you're dealt is of your own decision, will you accept fault or claim the wrongs you live with were caused by who is on the throne, not wishes that you were due to you? So you pursued them to your own imprisonment, but it wasn't meant. Not in the way that Peter had an angel sent for him to be released from his, no. More so like with Peter when the Lord was on trial after the sword was sheathed. So from your lips would pour a denial of the claim. I would follow you, even into Hades. But this wasn't where you believed that he was taking you. It didn't seem like the dream that you were chasing was the wrong way down a one-way street and you were crazy if you kept going. Nah, this has to be a trick or something. How could it be that if you wish for something and you get it, that it turns into a nightmare from Satan? But look close enough and you'll see that it wasn't. It's just a reflection of your desire if you face it. What you wanted wasn't Elohim. It was a selfish dream that he revealed couldn't help you bring his kingdom any glory, and you felt the sting for the first time. He said he'll give you the desires of your heart. Yeah, but he said it's him you're to delight in from the start. So if those desires aren't aligned with his will, he wasn't your delight, so he assigned what revealed a need for you to seek him unlike any time before, because you made him jealous that your goals were your Lord.
So will he be your sweet spot buried deep in your heart when you're having a moment? Will he be the one that you grab hold to when life gives you no bearing? Will in this moment you allow it to breed lifelong mementos that you can share with glee? Will you shop scriptures better than you shop your shopping sprees and be free? Your future is promised to have an expected end filled with a promise and a hope. Know that your decisions made yesterday is only a deposit that is going to be looked at later on and cause you to only be delayed, not take away what he has actually given to you and written into your blueprints. He has declared that you are going to have a hope in a future, and it's up to you to walk into it. Take a look in the mirror and let go of what you see and start embracing the actual pieces called his masterpiece that makes you you and unique. You are his DNA. He is your DNA. You are his and he is yours. When will you accept that?
But understand, he isn't genie to Aladdin, so don't ever think with God that if you dream it, you could have it. See, he ain't a lottery ticket to pull out of your pocket and switch it for millions now, because life feels just a little too hard for you to continue to push through and endure while it covers you with a few scars. No, see, his desire is love so on fire that nothing can extinguish what he starts in your heart. So your heart must relinquish anything that's an obstacle to his goal for you, which is him. He who is love, poured out of a soul renewed into a lost one as you once were, so they'll be remodeled as well as a vessel for himself to keep flowing through. When your will ain't aligned, then the finish line ahead is just a dead end, and you'll be venting while your legs are growing numb from time spent on bended knee before a Lord you thought would jump the very minute when you plead for desires of the flesh. You're convinced you'll spend to see his kingdom grow, but he knows sin is tempting you to seek what you're asking for, and he'll prove it with a test, a simple one. When you get a taste and say that it was ruin that he blessed you with, and so you'll see obsessions give to sickening addictions, to try to numb the pain you feel from witnessing your wish list be fulfilled in someone else's life while waiting for your own. But here's the key to see it now. Erase what you put on it and replace it all with this, and savor this alone to hear, well done, my good and faithful slave, stated by the Maker on the throne.
So will you begot in the flame of the begotten Son? Will you obsess over being the possessions of God,
who is possessive of his vessels and the spirit he gave? There's no time to delay. He's coming back, and we're near to the day.